the Legends of Iron. I'm John Andersen. Meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a Legend of Iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore Pure Beef Protein Icing. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein. And don't forget to try our new Carnivore flavor, Rocket Pop.
Oh, damn! Whoa, this is it right here.
Wow, this is protein? Delicious.
This is too good to be protein. Woo, we about to change the game with this one.
You're gonna love it. Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. I'm John Andersen. With me always my partners in crime, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. Unfortunately cannot be here today, but we've got a great show for you as always. This lady is a serious ass kicker. We've actually had her on the show once before. We're having her back again because she just had such a monstrous performance at a huge Strongwoman show. We just had to have her come back and talk to her about some of the action. Please welcome one badass bitch, Cori Bulter. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Much better now. I think I need that on the back of a t-shirt, like as my
name. And just so everybody knows, just so everybody knows, I spoke with her before I introduced her that way. She was happy with that introduction. I didn't cut that language loose on her without her knowing.
I knew it still would have been okay.
John's putting out the disclaimer.
That's right.
He's ready to get some hate for that one.
Because keep in mind, for all of you guests that come on in the future, we're here to make you guys look good and have some fun, and that's what it's all about. And Cori was very happy with that introduction, so that's why I was happy to give it to her. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. How have you been?
Good. I mean, good for the most part. We picked up a little injury since the last time I saw you guys. So
oh shit, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I didn't
got the chicken
pick that up. Oh mercy. Well, let's start off with that. Holy Toledo.
Wow. I tore my distal bicep tendon and tore the muscle at the muscular tendinous junction.
Ooh.
Evan Singleton just did the same exact injury, correct?
Yep. In the other arm, you put us together, we'd be one hell of an athlete.
And you two actually are very similar. So you two split down the middle, fused together would be perfect. You know,
we're hitting his head on the squat rack, though. I don't do that shit.
That's right. He's got to turn the head before he starts whacking that thing. You know?
I mean, I'll help him. Like I'll help him get there if he needs help. But he's on his body part, not mine.
So tell us what happened. How did you do how did the injury happen?
So I competed at Clash of the Coast, the 91 kilogram show in Baltimore a few weeks after Shaw. And the fourth event was sandbag to shoulder. I had the sandbag in my lap, proceeded to clean it up to my shoulder and got about midway there, and it just popped. Loudest jam sound I have ever heard in my life.
You know, I've done one of those, and I tell you, when mine popped off, I felt it. I felt this electric shock all the way down in my forearm. I was like, "What the hell was that?" And then all of a sudden, I see this clump of muscle sitting up right at my shoulder. I'm like, "Oh no, that's what it was."
Yeah, so, mine didn't ball up, like it didn't retract too far. Like I've seen those, and I didn't have like the big ball up here. They had to go up a ways to pull it out. I only had 5.5 centimeters of usable tendon once they cleaned it all back up to reattach. He was pretty close to having to do a reconstruction, which would have been bad news for me, is my understanding.
Yeah, big time.
And then I had the surgeon said I had a hematoma in there like the size of his fist, so that he had to evacuate. He used the words "very impressive," which I was pretty proud of. The surgeon tells you that he's impressed by your hematoma. That's got to say something.
Wow.
Not
Wow.
sure that's a good thing, but yeah.
I don't think it is, but I'm choosing to see the positive.
So what was the time? What was the time difference between the Shaw and the Clash? Because that's obviously you did such a great showing at the Shaw. We want to talk a lot about that. But what was the distance between the two? How many weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say that Shaw's show was pretty nasty. You know, obviously, probably I don't know, maybe not quite recovered, or maybe just a bad pick. Who knows? But that's what happens when you're competing at the level you're on. You know,
It does.
shit happens.
Yeah. I think it was probably just a freak thing. I mean, I had some tightness in that bicep for a short bit prior to Shaw. Nothing that was actual injury, I don't believe. I think it was, I mean, it could have happened on the log event. It could have, I think it could have happened, you know, anytime. I wasn't super comfortable. Like I haven't done that event a ton. I hope that it has run its course, and by the time I'm fully healed, it gets the hell out of contest for a while, because I would be okay not severe PTSD where sandbags are concerned right now. I watched it in everybody's training, like all these videos, everybody's getting ready for OSG, and I have to scroll through them. Like I just can't. It gives me the willies.
Yeah.
Understand.
Sorry, Nick. I know you're getting ready for OSG.
Well, I got the double bonus with that because I tore that lat off.
Right.
And the lat I pull the sandbag off the ground with is the lat I tore off. So I was even at the Masters competition I just did in July, that was the one I started training last. That was the one I waited the longest and was afraid. I didn't care how I did in the event. I just wanted to make sure I got through that without hurting anything. And
that was when I got hurt, we still had 2 events left, and I was sitting in third, which really sucks.
Yeah.
But I thought, I was sitting in the back, taking a minute, and I had a thought for a minute. Like the next event was circus dumbbell. And I'm like, it's my left arm, I'm right arm dominant. I'm like, can I strap this thing? Can we, Bobby Thompson came back and he's like, are you putting a wrist strap on that thing and going, are you giving it a shot? And I thought about it for a second, but then our last event was a last woman standing Atlas stone load. And I'm like, there's no way.
No way on that one.
There's no way. So there's no point in risking trying to hurt it worse on the circus dumbbell to not be able to finish the last event. Yeah. So I pulled out.
Sometimes you got to make that executive decision, as bad as it hurts. I mean, it is what if it was just a circus dumbbell left, my guess is you would have wrapped it up and gone for it.
I maybe would have tested the waters a little bit to see. I mean, I cannot even, obviously the adrenaline and stuff was going. I would say it's the most painful injury. I've been pretty lucky with injuries, but man, there's parts of this that have given childbirth a run for its money, gentlemen.
Wow.
It's hurt. It's been something awful. I don't usually do pain meds. I'm super sensitive to that stuff. And I was on that Oxy for 10 days, I think.
That stuff is nasty. I've been hooked on that twice. And it's, once you're hooked on that, man, you're in. There's no easy way out.
I had to take nausea meds just to be able to tolerate the Oxy.
Well, then the flip side is then you take it long enough, you need the nausea medicine when you're not taking the that's where I was. That's a bad place to be. So I'm glad.
I'm glad I didn't get there. Yeah.
I'm glad you only stayed on a little while. That's good shit.
Yeah. Well, I tried to get off as quick as possible. I'm
excited to talk to you about the Shaw because the Shaw's Classic has turned into just be a whopping show. I mean, every year it's bigger. The venue is killer. I mean, I can't even imagine where it's going to be in 5 years from now, but the show that we just had that you did really well in, which is why you're here, we want to hear all about it. And even better, Nick was running the stick, so he got to see it from the outside. We get to have some really killer conversation about it. So let's just start. First off, congratulations. Whopping showing.
Thank you.
So let's kind of take it from the front. How did you feel in your preparation for the show?
I felt pretty good. We took a good chunk of time. I did the Arnold in March and then didn't have anything between that and Shaw. So it was a good chunk of time I really wanted to focus on my static strength. Obviously, we knew even before stuff was released that show was going to be a heavy show, or anticipated, I guess. We didn't know, but So Coach and I worked on static strength quite a bit. And luckily there was some moving events in there for me, which I love. But even the moving events, I mean, it was
they were heavy.
650 yoke, I think.
660 yoke, 660 yoke. And then you guys had a
frame.
560 frame, yeah.
Which was my favorite event. I absolutely loved it. Man, I want one of those frames. I could definitely get down on one of those. So yeah, I felt pretty good going in.
You came into the show feeling good, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I mean, I knew it was going to be some stiff competition. There were some, heavy hitters that were down there on the floor with me. Got to meet some new girls, which was awesome. And everything ran really well. Like I really do think that there's something to be said about the difference between shows that are put on by athletes versus those that have never been on that competition floor.
And you're talking about Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw, I mean, if there's a guy who understands that's alive right now, he's got to be in the top few on the, I mean, he's one of the greats, hands down. And the best part about it is he wants to be great at everything he does, including being a strongman promoter. So he really did a phenomenal. I mean, every year it gets better and better, and just the venue itself. I mean, God, it looked amazing in there.
It was super cool. Yeah, he and Carrie did a really great job. Just at all the details. Like it was run very smoothly, ran really quick. Like we did our events before the pro men. And I think we were done both days in 2.5 hours, Nick. Is that
about 2.5. Yeah. One day was 2 and the other one was 2.5.
Yeah.
And then you guys had the one at night with the guys. So that was in the afternoon. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Well, run us through. I want to hear it. I'm sure our listeners want to hear it. Nick, you were on the stick. So this is great. We get to hear it from the inside and the outside. Let's go. So first event. What are you thinking when you're getting ready for the first event, Cori?
Well, first event was, I knew it was going to be interesting. So going in, my 1 rep max deadlift was the first event, and it was a 13-inch pull. 13-inch pull, 500 pounds for reps. And going into that, my best pull was 515. So I was hoping for a handful of reps and ended up getting 6. I think.
Yep. Oh, very nice.
So
I was super happy with that. I wanted to squeeze out another one. I quit a little before time. Something kind of popped in my back on my last rep on my hitch. So I decided to quit there rather than trying to squeak out. I didn't want to do anything more damaging, I guess. I wasn't sure what was going on at that point. So I placed kind of middle of the pack there. I think I tied for 4th, maybe 5th, somewhere in there on that event.
Pretty sure it was
super
4th.
happy. Super happy with. I mean, you're going in there not knowing, what to expect, and it was a heavy freaking pull for me. So I was super happy with where I ended up there. And luckily, a little tightness in the back, but nothing that was too terrible. Ended up having Dr. Jericho Matthews work on me in the back, and it was a psoas. Ended up being a psoas issue of all things. So he gave me some stuff to do, and we worked on that. And second event was the log?
Well, real quick before we go to the second event, Nick. So she's basically knocked out. You remember how many reps she had? I'm just great memory, by the way. Holy shit! So she's coming in thinking, man, I hope I get a couple. What were you looking at? She's knocking out rep after what it looked like from the outside, because you were there live.
Yeah, live. She was moving them actually really good. I knew that was going to be a challenging event for her, and she came in and for where she was to what she did, she knocked it out of the park. That's
knocked it out.
That's what you're supposed to do when you train. You improve and you get better. And you took something that was right at just below your 1 rep max, and you pull out 6 and are considering 7. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's about all you can ever hope for.
God,
what's that?
13-inch pulls.
Yeah,
13-inch pulls are terrible.
It's at a hard spot because you don't get that leg explosion into it the way you do it. But there's ways around that, and changing a foot stance and changing a stance specifically to that event will help you drive your legs. It's just you got to play with it a little bit and move your feet in, move them out. and you can actually figure out how to drive with your legs in that event.
Oh, we might.
Well,
need to talk
Cori,
about that later.
clearly you figured something out because you knocked
Mhm.
out. I mean, hell, you just said went in 5:15 was your best, and you knocked out
Yeah.
6. I mean, normally think, okay, I've done 5:15 in training, and 5:15 is the max. You're thinking a few, not.
Yeah, I was like,
not
I
more
know
than-
I'm not
not
gonna
more than
fail. Like,
5.
yeah, I know I'm not. I know I'm not gonna zero.
Yeah.
I figured, a PR would be pretty freaking awesome, and I kind of blew that out of the water. So yeah, I couldn't be mad about that at all.
No,
So-
that's
Kind of a fun side note question. This is a deadlift tends to be an event where many females will wet themselves. Are you one of those, or are you stay dry?
It depends on the deadlift, to be honest with you, and it's not just deadlifting. I
Hold
didn't.
on, Nick.
that
You got to
particular-
remember. I got to interrupt Nick. Sorry, Cori. Nick, she remember the first show we had. She's a player
I
in this
know,
kind of
honey.
conversation.
no. I know.
Don't think that I'm dragging her through the dirt here. She loves this.
No, I'm just thinking.
Sorry for
There is no
interrupting,
offending
Cori.
me. No, there is no offending me. You give me all the questions. Yeah.
So real quick, Cori, when you see Nick do this, that means he can't believe something I just said.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah,
right.
that's true.
Perfect.
So
Comes
you
out
didn't-
well
you
here.
You didn't wet yourself at the Shaw
didn't.
Classic. So, but generally speaking, that's something that's kind of you never quite know what's going to happen, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hit or miss. There are precautions that I think a lot of us girls take to try and mitigate that, but it's not something that I get super hung up on. Like if it happens, it
Yeah.
happens.
And and I love that because when it comes, like I've been judging a deadlift before, and a lady started peeing herself, and I was just like, "Go, don't stop, go!" And I ended up eating my words. She ended up doing it so much, it was a car deadlift. It started splashing my legs because it was so much. But the bottom line is, I was the one who told her to go. So I got to stick in there and let's go. Let's get it done.
I
Yes,
can
I'm
honestly
getting-
say I have never peed on anyone during
Well,
a deadlift.
it wasn't a direct pee. It was a pee big enough to make a puddle that hit the deadlift apparatus and splashed me in the leg.
All
Yes.
right.
So
Okay.
anyway, we'll
Yeah,
go.
no.
So we kept it clean at the Shaw. Great job.
We did,
Great
yes.
effort. Very good. Very good.
Yes, kept it clean
Okay,
at
so
the shop.
event 2. Where were we event 2?
Was that log, Nick? Remind me.
I believe it was the log. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had log clean and pressed at 220. They ended up dropping the weight a little
To
bit
200. To 200. Yeah.
Yep, because there was some kind of conversation about whether there were half or so of the field that wasn't super confident with getting a rep at 220. And of course, they want to make it a show. They want to
Right.
engage viewers, and we did have a live stream that people were paying for, so they wanted to make it entertaining. The kicker to that was it was a 75-second time limit instead of a 60. So it was definitely a strongman cardio event.
At elevation, at mile high.
And the elevation I honestly didn't have an issue with. We're pretty similar elevation here. I mean, if we would have been up in Estes Park, maybe there would have been a little more difference for me. But I didn't struggle with the elevation. I know there were a lot of people that did. And so that event, I actually had a plan. I made a little bit of a mistake on that event just because I had a plan going in for my pacing for 75 seconds based on 220. And I didn't take into account when we lessened the weight that maybe I should speed my pace up a bit. So I think I still had a few reps in the tank when time was called. I still didn't end up bad. I don't remember where I ended up or how many reps I got on that event, but I wasn't unhappy with it. I think I could have
Kicking ass for 75 seconds. You earn every bit of your introduction as a badass bitch.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I did not run out of gas, so to speak.
No, none of the reps look very hard.
Yeah.
So
no,
you had very strict judges.
yes.
Super strict judges. And you know what? None of your reps looked that hard. And that's good because you didn't lose anything. I mean, could you have gotten more? Sure. But you didn't lose anything because of, the judging standards and you not hitting it. So that's good. It was solid all the way around. Remember, you finished third, so you didn't finish bad at anything.
No, I think
So.
I think you go back and you look like in the grand scheme of things, nobody was catching Victoria.
No.
She, blew that out of the water. I was 4 points behind Olga. So you look back and like the little things, like pacing on the log event, maybe I could have gotten a few more reps there, or watching videos back. My transition on my yoke could have been a little faster. Transition on the frame could have been a little faster when you turn around and you go back. So just little things like that. I'm certainly not unhappy with it. I mean, 3rd place, getting on that podium for that contest with those ladies.
With Olga and Victoria, that's pretty serious.
That caliber of athletes, that's a hell of. I mean, hell, that's why we scheduled the show with you. As soon as that thing, we better get a hold of her. Look at this, man.
And here I thought it was just my sparkling personality you wanted back.
Well, that too. That too. I mean,
absolutely.
The first show, you proved that you were just getting in there and having a good time with the guys. So we're like, shit, we're going to have another one of those. So that's perfect.
I'd much rather hang out with you guys than most women. So
cool.
I love it. Let's go. Let's go. So second event went well, but could have probably done a little better. But all in all, still kicking ass, earning your introduction again. So where did the 3rd event go?
3rd event. The 3rd event pissed me off. Yeah. 3rd event was with the pro men on the stage, the big stage, in front of that crowd. Man, that was bananas. So it was the sandbag toss over bar, 15 feet. We went. Was it 25, 25, 30, 30, 35, 35, I believe, were the weights on that?
That sounds about right. Yeah. I think it was 220s, 225s, 235s.
Was it that? Something like that. It was right in that range. We warmed up in the back without a bar to throw over. So that was, not ideal, but it's a bag toss. So we got one throw over the apparatus out on the main floor before the event. And your girl here had a very difficult time getting her placement to the rig with that one throw. So when it was my turn to go, I missed that stupid 25-pound bag twice before I hit it. And it was not a height thing. It was literally just I was not close enough to the rig for the bar to go over. So I wasted a bunch of time with those misses. And
because you got to go you got to retrieve that sandbag too.
Right. Yeah. Yep. You got to go retrieve your own sandbag. So I wasted a solid amount of time there. And then the first 30-pound bag that I hit got stuck on top of the rig.
Yep.
Which
I got something funny about that too. But go ahead.
Please.
No, go ahead. I'll let you finish, and then I'll tell you.
Then I spent another. It's keep in mind it's super loud in there. You got all the fans, you got the music, you're doing all the things, and we hadn't gone over in the rules meeting what the situation was going to be if a bag got stuck up there. Like, what do we do? Is it count? Do we go? So I'm looking at like 3 or 4 judges standing back here on the rig going, is it good? Am I grabbing another bag? And they're all looking at each other like they don't know what to do or they don't hear me. I'm not really fucking sure. But I'm standing there. That was probably a good 6, 8, 10 seconds of I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, am I going? Am I grabbing the next bag? So I ended up getting, I think, 4 of the bags, made an attempt on the 5th and ran out of time. So there were a lot of mistakes. That was a shit show of an event for me. Like,
so what happened to the bag that was up on top of the rig? What happened to that?
They had to push it off.
Yep.
It just stayed.
Yeah. So part of the thing is the 2 days before we're in the rules meeting and we're talking to all the guys and we're having this big meeting at the arena and we're talking about the sandbag toss over bar. And I go, well, what are we going to do if one gets stuck up there? And they're like, they're not going to get stuck up there. I go, what are we going to do if one gets stuck up there? Because as talented as these guys are and these women are, someone will stick a sandbag up there, sure enough. They're like, oh, no, that ain't going to happen. And it happens. And
Cori's like, hold my beer.
Cori's like, hold my beer. And because we're going to overfill those bags. They won't stay. They'll this. So there's no way that thing's going to stay up there. And it stayed. And I remember looking at Brian afterwards. I go, He just starts shaking his head, laughing. He goes, "Oh, you're right." But it was supposed to count. If you threw it up there and it stayed, you make sure it didn't go, and then you go back, grab the next bag, and keep going.
I guess it just took everybody 8 seconds to remember that part of the it's like the oh shit part of the rule. You know?
And I don't know why. I mean, that's usually a question that, and it certainly is now going forward, that I will ask, or somebody will ask, like what happens in that situation, and for whatever reason didn't discuss it or didn't think about it, and so on the competition floor during my 60 seconds, it came into play, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
I'm sorry, I was in the booth, or I would have been down there yelling at you, "Go, just grab another one, go!" But you're not going to hear me.
What I did.
You're not going to hear me way up at the top.
Yeah, I still didn't get an answer on what we were doing, so I said, "Fuck it," and just went. I'm like, we can figure it out later.
Yeah. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. Just keep going.
Yeah. So that was a circus. That was a friggin' shit show of an event. So I definitely lost some points there. I think I at least would have, my split times would have been better. I don't know if I would have finished that event. Not very many of the girls did finish. I think we only had 1 or 2 that actually got all the bags over.
Yeah.
But it definitely cost me some points taking the amount of time that I did to get those over. And that was mostly just my fault.
Yeah.
But you still were doing so good in the rest of it that, I mean, Olga, it was just you and Olga kind of getting after it.
Yeah.
Victoria was like, she was in another class all by herself.
Oh man, she is just an amazing athlete. I mean, she's bonkers, and those are all great events for her. I mean, I'm not sure she has a bad event, to be honest, but
I don't think she does.
So that was the end of day 1, and I'm still, I think even with that tank on that event, I was tied for 4th at the end of day 1.
Yep.
So then day 2, we had the yoke and the frame.
Yep.
Right?
I believe so, yes. I know. You did the yoke.
Yoke was day 1.
Day 1, and then the log and the frame. It was log and frame.
So we went deadlift, yoke, sandbag toss. Yeah. Yes. So correct. Sorry. So second event was the yoke.
Hold on, real quick, Cori. Forgive me. I'm so enjoying this description of what you're going on, but I got to ask my co-host to stop OCDing out on the opening and closing the pin.
Oh, sorry.
Is that what that noise is?
Sorry.
I was like, Jesus Christ, our producer's sitting in the back and he's going, God damn it, Nick, stop that. Jesus Christ, you're making a whole lot of work for me here. Stop pumping that fucking pen. I was like, I heard a click. I thought, okay. He was taking a quick note.
I don't get Nick some fidget toys.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He's like a pit bull. You just got to get him a chew toy. He's good to go. You know.
Get him a little fidget.
Sorry, Cori. Get back to what you were saying. Forgive me.
So Cori destroys the yoke.
Yeah. Well, how did that feel?
I did well on the yoke.
How did that feel? I mean, that was a heavy yoke.
You know what? It was. I didn't feel too bad at all. I thought it was a good weight. I thought it moved pretty well. Yeah. Yep. I was really happy with it. The only thing I would have changed on it is my transition time, and it was more in my mind, making sure, and this is anytime I got a drop and a repick, just making sure that I get that good pick. So I'm not taking time to make, drops and things on the way back.
Yeah. You can't, you got to practice that spin and just jamming in it and taking off. And it's one of those things that it's a risk you take, but the more you practice that, I mean, it's basically a spin on one foot. That's all it is. And you just drop your foot down. And as soon as that foot hits, you just stand up with it and take off.
Yeah.
But
so that could have been better, but I was super happy with it. Like everything felt good. Things were smooth, especially with, the little, like I mentioned, the little pop I had on the deadlift event before that, which I should have remembered that order went in, but it felt really good. Yeah. It felt really good. I was super happy with where I placed on that. I think I was, I don't know, second, third. I think I was top 3 in that event.
Second.
Yeah. So I have 0 complaints. Like again, Victoria, she dusted me by at least 6-7 seconds on that event. So even with a super fast transition, I doubt there would have been any winnings of that event. So that was super happy with that. And then frame was most definitely my favorite event. I was looking forward to that one.
How much was
560
that, you
frame.
said? Yeah, I was going to say it was well over 500 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a heavy frame. I mean, there's lots of our listeners, involve themselves in different types of strength training. And I can confidently say there's probably a large chunk of the men that are thinking, God damn it, I wish that I could do that.
The funny thing was,
Nick?
There's a lot of the men that are going to struggle with the 560 frame.
Yeah. So again, our badass bitch is knocking the hell out of that thing. Jesus Christ.
I really
figure that's a
t-shirt.
280 a hand farmer's walk.
I know. It's fucking monster, dude. It's huge.
And it was very different from a farmer. So to qualify, I actually did, I think it was 306 a hand for my qualifying.
God damn. Now those gentlemen were going. Now those gentlemen were thinking, boy, I wish I could do the 560 frame. Now they're going, oh my God, over 300 pounds a hand. That's big stuff.
Girl gets all the groceries in the house in one trip.
Yeah.
Or I did.
One trip.
I love it.
One trip.
So training, that's all I had was farmers. I didn't have a frame. And I had borrowed some of the connectors for the farmers, but it was still very different. I actually asked Brian and Cori if I could make a trip, because I'm 6 hours from Denver. So I asked if I could make a trip down to touch the 12-inch log and the frame, just to get a feel for not necessarily what we were going to be competing on, the actual equipment, but just the size of the equipment. Because a frame is can be very different from farmers as far as being wider. It was a higher pick, handles are different. It's just a very different feel. So I was confident going into that event, but then once I had gone down and trained with Brian and picked up the actual frame, then I was like, fuck, let's do it. Like I was super pumped to run it, and it was quick. It was fast.
It's a sweet frame. It is a nice frame.
Yeah, they are real nice frames. I don't know who makes those.
You know what? I don't either. I'll look the next time though.
Yeah.
I'll send you a text.
So how fast did you make your run, Cori? How fast? I mean, it sounds like it was wicked fast.
Shit, I don't even remember.
Nick, do you remember?
Was 50 feet down, 50 feet back, wasn't it? Was it? I don't even want to venture a guess.
It was probably like 21, 22.
Yeah,
it was pretty fast.
That's hauling.
It was pretty fast.
It was quick.
Yeah, it was like 21, 22, maybe faster.
And that second pick was no problem either?
No, it was, again, I could have, turned and repicked a little faster. But again, the grip, it's not something that you want to repick, 3, 4, 5 times. Like you want to pick it and then pick it again and be done with it. Yeah. That's not something you want to dick around with multiple times. And I think I gave Victoria a run for her money on that event, actually. I think we were pretty close.
You might have been
2.
Yeah, because she was at 17, I think, and you might have been at 19.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it. It was fast. You were close.
Yeah, I think we were pretty close. And that's not the only reason it was my favorite event. I really like those moving events, and they're good events for me. And I was super confident going into, and I think after the log, I want to say I was sitting 4th place overall. So I knew that I was going to have to nut up and, sorry for lack of.
No, listen, this is why we have you back here. Talking like it is. This is exactly, listen, I was like, shit, man. Having somebody back the second time, you got to turn up the volume a little. We had a great show the first time, But I mean, I love it.
That's the actual conversation that I had in my head.
That's exactly why this is an interesting show, because you're just not the standard female lifting weights.
Thank you.
You are very, very unique.
It's a good way.
Very unique in a kick-ass way, in a badass bitch way. Hell yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
So yeah, that was the conversation. Kind of sat off to the side and said, all right, this is it. You're off the podium. Like the goal, and I think we talked about this last time, the goal was to podium. Like that's what I wanted to do. And so I had the talk with myself. I'm like, all right, we got to nut up. Like, this is it. You're out of time. this was your favorite event or the event you were looking forward to going in. You just need to execute. You know, you can do it. It's time to fuck shit up.
Your inner monologue is just pretty much what you're saying. You're hard on yourself. You're chewing yourself out.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Is there any part of the conversation with yourself that you're leaving out that you're afraid to talk about on the show?
No. I mean, I definitely
love that.
There was.
I love that.
I just don't like. I don't sugarcoat things.
I love it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I'm just inviting you to be totally honest is all I'm doing.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about peeing on that event since we already talked about that previously. I mean, when you've got that much in your hands and you're trying to run with the thing, like there was some concern there, but no, we were all good on that too. I did about drop the damn thing on my toe though when I got to the second end, kind of made a little hop. I'm really glad I didn't catch my foot on that and like just nose dive.
Yeah, that would
break my face, but real embarrassing.
Yeah.
That would have been the one that ended up on like Sports Center's Instagram or something. Would have been taking the nose dive after.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was the internal monologue. Like I am my own worst critic. I'm very hard on myself, and I knew that was going to be the make or break to hit my goal. So there was no fucking around at that point.
Time to get it, baby. Time to get it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. And bottom line is you put yourself through the mental paces so you could put yourself through the physical paces, and it worked out fucking perfectly. So great job.
It did. Yeah, I was really happy with it. Like I said, you can go back and nitpick 4 points. Those little mistakes of taking second place, but I was right there with the best of the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't argue with how good that fleet of females was. That was. Yeah, I mean, you said you hit it on the head. You placed third in the best of the best. You know,
and the goal was to put out. You know, it was the inaugural women's class at the Shaw Classic.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of conversations with the ladies of just like, have fun. Let's put on a show.
Yeah,
like let's give Brian and Cori a reason to bring us back next year. And make it a regular thing. Like we don't want, like, there's no reason to be whiny and mopey, and this is an excellent opportunity we have in front of us, and let's put on a fucking show.
And I think you guys seized the moment for sure. There's no question, and you're part of history because that show's going to go on for a long time. You know, that show's going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and you were in the first ever. Females were a section of the show. So, I mean, like I said, it's going to go down in history, and you were third. So, love it, man. Absolutely fucking love it.
Brian's got some plans. That thing's going to be around for a long time.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to keep. I mean,
no doubt.
just in the growth pattern from the first year till now. Look at that. Can you imagine in 10 more years? Oh, fuck. You know?
Yeah, it's going to be a big show.
And that's while he's competing. Can you imagine if he ever decides not to compete in it? It'll just be a whole different animal.
I got to say this because I flew in there Wednesday. And so he was already busy working on it and doing everything else. I flew in Wednesday, and he was 16 to 17-hour days all through that leading into it and trying to train and do everything else to compete. I mean, there's no stone that man leaves unturned. None. And
his kids were starting school, I believe, that week.
They did. Yeah. And I remember he broke off and went to the first day, the first day of school, and went to class with them and stuff like that. And then came back and picked us up, and we head back on and went to go grab the equipment and everything else. And we helped truck all that stuff over there.
Well, just remember, his simple motto, which is so fucking great, is
be great.
Be great.
And it's not just be great at Strongman. It's being great as a father, as a husband, as a business person, as a promoter. And when someone holds themselves accountable to that extent, the way he does, I mean, that's why everything around him does so well, because of his commitments.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And they got the arena back. So it's going to be back in the same spot next year. So that's going to be good too.
That was awesome.
They're going to open up our seats though.
Are they?
Yeah, they're gonna move the curtain back so they can get even more people in there. So that'll be better. It'll be even bigger. Cool.
It would be nice too. The only I don't even want to say negative thing. The only thing that I would hope for is we started, and I know why they did it, and trial and error and whatever. But we started much earlier than the pro men, so there really wasn't much of a crowd. You know, we started at 9 o'clock, I think, in the morning. And just because we were done so fast, I think we could have started a little later in the morning and still had plenty of time to the guys to do their thing.
Some of that was they sold 2 separate sets of tickets too.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just same thing with the live stream. So I think they're going to do more to bring that together next year. So
you can't plan for that stuff until you experience it and you make changes after the fact. But I thought you and Kristen did. I actually bought the live stream and watched it back, and your guys' commentary was fucking awesome. Like, you guys nailed it. You were great together.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Kristen was a lot of fun to do it with. I mean, we had a good time. We really did.
And your wife was great on the floor too. That was my first time meeting Callie. She is awesome.
Yeah, she's a personality bomb, that's for sure. She's the bright ray of sunshine that walks into the room at all times. I'm a lucky man.
Indeed.
So.
Indeed you are. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the whole thing was just from front to back was just a tremendous experience for you.
It was.
Yeah.
I really have no complaints. Like, there's takeaways. I mean, obviously there's things you can get better at. There's things you can improve on personally myself. But as far as the show went, like, I have no complaints. Everything moved really well. It was really smooth. You know, they had all of the resources there. They had ice baths, which were terrible. You got in, didn't you? Or no, you put just your feet in. I was giving you all kinds of shit.
I went in up to my waist.
Oh. Well,
the first day I went into my legs, and then the next day I went into my waist. It was cold. Those things are cold, and they stir the water. They agitate. Yeah.
Sam Bellabo and I got in, and I got in first, and she was on the one. I don't remember, on the right side. So I get in, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, that one's 3 degrees Celsius colder." And I'm like, "You bitch! I thought we were friends. Like, what the hell are you like? It doesn't need to be colder." Those things were terrible. But they had all the resources. You know, they had a team of massage therapists and people there. They had the
chiropractic.
They had the whole shebang. And I think the venue was great as far as they had food and beverage and within walking distance from the hotel, and it was close to restaurants, and like they planned it really, really well. The hotel was really nice. Breakfast was good, which you don't get really at a whole lot of hotels. I really don't have any complaints.
Sounds like it was a great, wonderful experience and we love the fact that we can take, obviously, because it's you guys were the first fleet of females in that show. Love the fact that we can give you the exposure, and obviously you did great as an athlete, but we still let's change directions a little bit, because obviously you as a person are very interesting, and I say that as a compliment. So we've been talking about, you know, obviously all that you've done in both shows about, you know, your strong woman journey. So for the viewers that are now have seen you twice, and I'm sure they're getting to love you that much more when they see just what a straightforward lady you are, or straightforward badass bitch you are. What would be 3 things that you could that you could tell viewers about yourself that they wouldn't know?
Oh, that they wouldn't know.
And if 3's a stretch, just, you know, let's just have a fun conversation about it, because ultimately, really what I want to do is I want to expose you as a person, because you're a very unique person. You're not just a kick-ass female athlete.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So
expose you in a good way, by the way.
I'm taking all of this as positives, John.
Yes.
So I've got some little like side hustles. I've bowled since I was 6 years old. Nick's gonna laugh. Yeah.
There we go.
I have several perfect games. I'm actually in the State Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yes.
It means you've got to strike every fucking time.
Yes. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's insane.
Yep.
What is that? When you do that, is it 300 you're getting?
300. Yep. I got the dorky little rings to prove it.
See, I'm one of these guys when I bowl. I'm one of these guys when I bowl, and I don't bowl very often. I have to really distract myself so I can actually do it, not overthink it. So what I do is I ask for the biggest pair of shoes they have in the place. It's usually like a 17 or an 18. You know, they got these big dumpy shoes on. I can barely keep myself from falling down. That's about the only way I can keep it out of the gutter. So So
it also doubles. You know, if you fall and face plant, then you have an excuse. You just got big old clown shoes on.
Well, I was going to say, yeah. So that's my methodology of bowling. So talk to us a little bit. How did you get yourself to a perfect game? Holy shit.
So my dad was a bowler in his younger year. Well, he even until he passed, he bowled every Wednesday night with his buddies. But when I was 6, he got me into junior leagues, and I bowled from 6 until probably a handful of years ago, when it just got too busy with kid activities and training and trying to squeeze everything in. Something had to give, and that was what gave for the time being. I might get back into it. But yeah, it was just, bowling a couple times a week through junior leagues. And then once, twice a week when I became an adult and started bowling as an adult with some friends of mine, and, just practice. I mean, just kind of happened.
So you practice that spin and get it rotating really fast.
Yeah.
How does that thing grip the lane? Because it's all the lane's all oiled, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so there's different oil patterns. I mean, you can get real nerdy on this shit. There's different oil patterns. There's different cores of bowling balls. There's different drilling patterns to make it move differently. Like you can go down that rabbit hole a long ways.
Wow.
So I would have never guessed the bowling. That's good shit.
People make fun of me. I'm a nerd.
No, but you know what? Listen, if you're fucking that good at anything, how do you make fun of that? Jesus Christ, I don't give a damn what you're doing. I don't give a damn what it is. If you can do it that well, that's fucking pretty awesome, man.
Well,
so
thanks.
I got a question. What makes you the badass bitch that you are? Because you're a very straightforward female. You're like you said, you don't get offended easily. I love that about you, by the way. That's just like my wife. I have to have that as my female counterpart, because hell, it just doesn't work otherwise.
It's the only way they're gonna keep you in line.
I can see that. I happen to think it's one of my better qualities.
So what is it that kind of, I say this positively as a compliment. What is it that made you the way you are? Or what was it, the way you were raised? Did your father have something to do with it? He got you bowling. Was it some of the rough and tumble bowling practices?
No. Rough and tumble maybe, but not having to do with bowling. I was, believe it or not, super shy in high school and growing up. I was not an outgoing female at all. I was always tall, was always a little on the thicker side. I have red hair. I got really full lips on me. That's always been something that I have had and always got made fun of. I was not, the things that I now.
Yeah. The things that when you're
a kid that are unique.
Yeah. The things that now that people look at you go, God, I wish I had her lips. When you're a kid, you just don't want those lips because not everybody else has them.
Right. And you get made fun of. Yes. Yes. So I actually really what the pivotal life-changing point was when I was 18, I got married to my high school sweetheart. And he turned out to be a real piece of shit human being.
Oh.
And went through that whole rough and tumble, as you mentioned, quite literally. And when I got out of that relationship, it was kind of a fuck it all. It really made me into the person that is sitting before you today.
That's it was the best thing that ever happened to you, because you're really what I see, you're a woman that's free. That makes sense.
Yeah,
you are who you are. You're not trying to be what society says a woman should be. And I think I fucking love it. I love that about you. So I think even though you had to pay a consequence to get where you are, sometimes those really tough consequences are worth the big picture. So,
I would agree. It was definitely one of those what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of moments.
Yeah.
And really turned me into a person who really didn't give a shit what other people thought or felt. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say felt, because obviously I care about other people's feelings depending on the person. But it was a huge life-changing moment. Surviving that, I guess, in a way, making it through that, coming out the other side, just not being a person who would cower to others, that would conform to others, who would keep her mouth shut. when it was expected to be, and just little things like that. And of course, as I have grown up and experienced more things, nothing to that degree again, but experienced more things, it's just kind of brought me out of my shell, I guess, so to speak. But that was definitely the pivotal moment of breaking that shell, was that experience.
Well, that's, I mean, if you think about it, looking back, it sounds like you would relive it in a heartbeat because it made you who you are. And again, you're a badass lady. So that's, you know, it is what it is, but look at how it all turned out, you know?
Yeah.
At the time, when the whole thing's going on, I'm sure it's hard to understand, but looking back, you got, unfortunately, you know, that happened to you, but in a weird way, you can almost thank that dickhead for being such a dickhead.
Yeah, I guess in a way you can. It definitely, I mean, I'd like to meet him in a back alley now and we could, you know, have a completely different experience. But it not only brought me out of my shell, but it definitely has. I mean, there were years after. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted in a partner, but that was definitely the start of finding myself and what I wanted in a significant other and what would complement me. And so it definitely, like you said, I think it happened for a reason. And I think that most definitely shaped me, or started shaping me into the person that I am today.
It's good that you found your you, because that's probably the most difficult thing for people to find, especially getting out of toxic relationships and stuff like that, is finding the person that you are, because you can't find someone else until you find out who you are, what you like and what your thing is, and get going and doing your thing. And then you can add somebody into your life and be part of theirs at the same time, and you both prosper from it. Instead of just bringing in the next person before you figure out
the next person in line.
Yeah. And you're just like,
I really think that Strongman too was kind of the second tier of that, because I definitely had, especially coming out of that relationship, a lot of body issues, body image issues, self-confidence issues for sure. And getting into Strongman really was that last little tier of being comfortable with my body, being proud of my body, you know, building it into what it is now, and being proud, I guess.
And that's so true. I mean, I love to hear it, because, you know, like people say all the time, oh, you know, he lifts weights because, you know, he's insecure about something. Well, talking about me, no fucking shit. That's why I started lifting weights. I was a scared fat little boy, and it helped me build my confidence. So, I mean, the fact that the sport that you love and you perform so highly at now is like that last pivotal point makes the story even better. You know?
Yeah, I think so. I think it really came full circle, and you know, finding having someone that has similar interests is always nice, that supports you, but ultimately having someone that supports you, you know, like Callie does more of the CrossFit side of things, but you guys have the same, you know, mental love for that fitness journey. Like, she supports you, you support her, you guys have that in common, rather than having to be with someone that's like, oh, you're spending 3 hours in the gym again today. Like,
I never understood that. Okay, so you're upset because your spouse is going to be productive. Many spouses will spend that 2 or 3 hours sitting in a fucking bar watching a goddamn football game. Jesus Christ, what do you want here? You know, it's like you got to support. You got to support what, especially if it's a productive activity. I've never understood that. It's like,
and whatever it is, like if it's not sitting your ass on the couch playing video games, or like you said, sitting in a bar putting down a 12-pack of beer.
Exactly.
Like, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Because usually when you're down a 12-pack of beer, you're out getting in trouble.
Most likely. And if you're not, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, because your rational thought after 12 beers is not what it should be. That's for sure.
I think the word rational goes out the window starting at about 6.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. Let's jump off this roof. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I have to say that's never a thought I've had.
Oh, I have.
Thankfully.
I have. I've jumped off a few. Mostly in the pools. I mostly made the pool.
Okay, well that's a little different.
I can only
Nick,
think of
be
one. So I hit
careful.
the side.
Be careful, brother. Well, I'm gonna ask the question to you. What do people know about you? Jesus Christ, look out.
Oh, there's far too much. There's too much of that. So, I mean,
well,
oof.
Cori, I gotta say, every fucking time I get a chance to visit with you, it's too much fun, and I find to enjoy your conversation more. I respect you as a human being more.
Thank you.
And I really want to thank you for coming back on the show, and thank you for sharing some of that personal stuff. I know we touched on that a little bit, but at the first show, but I think going into it deeper, and for all of you guys that are listening, she just shared something that really just demonstrates that the hardest things in your life are going to be your blessings. You just don't always know it at the time. So if you're having if you're in a tough spot right now, just keep pushing, because you're going to look back. You'll never know why it's happening, when it's happening, but you'll look back and you'll connect the dots, just like our badass bitch, Cori Bulter, who has graced us with her presence one more time on the show. I got to tell you, Cori, thank you for coming on. Something tells me you're going to be the first to come on for a third time, because for a chick, it's too much fun interviewing you, and you have great answers, and you're just a kick-ass human being. Forget the male-female part of it, you know?
I will gladly come back.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I think I need a Legends of Iron shirt, though, that says like badass bitch on the back.
Yeah, we might have to do that.
That will be a thing. We'll figure that out.
100%.
We'll get one of those.
Yeah,
we'll get one of those.
Yes, we will. Well, before we wrap this baby up, Nick, you got anything else for our badass lady over here? I can't say that too many times, so I got to switch it up.
I agree. You're not going to get any complaints from me.
No, it's always great to see you. It's always great to talk to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I hope you do come down to OSG. It'd be great to hang out with you.
I think so. And I might be in Vegas in December for
ASW.
Cool.
Oh, cool. Then I'll see you then too.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
4-pound burrito or whatever the hell you were posting the other day.
Yeah. I will take you to that Cafe Rio that we went to, and we will get you a big burrito. Yes. Okay. Cool.
Right on. Well, Cori, again, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for your honesty, and just thank you for, having you on is always a great experience, and congratulations on the killer showing at the Shaw Classic, and we wish you all the best with your healing. I'm sure you're going to bounce back from this without a problem. It's just your mentality. You won't have it any other way, and I fucking love it. So that being said, thank you for your time again. There you have it, everyone. There's another edition of Legends of Iron. And with this show here, we really got to demonstrate how truly a life situation, being as hard as it can be, can literally make you a better version of yourself you even thought. Look at our guest here, our badass bitch, Cori Bulter. Thank you for coming on. There you have another show, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mix.
Eating like a bodybuilder is not cheap. Have you seen the recent cost of steaks lately? Thankfully, I'm able to get all my meals in and hit my macros for just a fraction of the price with Carnivore Lean Meal, Muscle's newest innovative whole food meal replacement.
Compare Carnivore Lean Meal to a typical bodybuilding meal. Carnivore Lean Meal stacks up in protein and carbs with none of the fat, but a carnivore shake is only about $3 per meal.
Get my 6 meal in. This is what I use right here. This is meal number 6. It's my Carnivore Lean Meal. It's a combination of carbs combined with protein. It's actually made from real sweet potatoes and white potatoes, so can't beat that. Tastes awesome. Love that product. And to top it all off, guys, it's lactose free and sugar free. Stop overpaying for your meals and eat clean with Carnivore Lean Meal. It's better than any meal you can cook yourself at a fraction of the price.